Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. I hope everybody had a good day on yesterday. We're gonna wait a few. Um, okay. See you later. Have a good day. Let me see where everybody is watching from. Where is everybody tuned in from? I'm in North Dakota in case you're new here, and I am Chante Charles. Welcome to Thrive with Chante. We are in a new series. You got this. This is episode 2, knowing when to pivot. Sometimes what we're doing or where we're at no longer serves us, and that's okay. We just have to know when to pivot, when to make a change. And sometimes that can be hard because the thing that we were doing or the place where we were at or are at, it may have served us well at one point. Hey, good morning. Good morning from Ontario. It may have served us well, but it could be time to pivot if that thing or that place is no longer serving us. Um, it may be time to do something different. And sometimes it can be hard to do something different. We know that the place where we're at or what we were doing or a particular job is no longer serving us. You may hate that job. You used to like it. You used to like the people there. You used to like the job and you've been there for years, but suddenly you can't stand that place. You can't stand that place and you can't stand the people. But oftentimes we'll stay where we're no longer happy because it's familiar and we're afraid of change. We cannot let that happen because then we become stagnant. We become stagnant. Sometimes we become bitter. We can become depressed. We have to know when it is time to make a pivot, when it is time to change, when a place no longer serves us. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Bible, but there's a story in the Bible of, I know, right? That guy was like, I'm like, you couldn't be that educated, but not too bright. I think he wanted to get fired. I mean, seriously. But there's a story in the Bible about the prophet Elijah, and there was a drought. There was a drought, and God sent him to a certain place, and there was a brook there. And so the brook had water, and the ravens fed Elijah every day. But then it came to a point where the brook dried up and he needed to move. God told him to move, to go to a different place where the widow woman was and what have you. And that's in First Kings chapter 17, this story, if you want to go back and read it in your own time. But the brook, the place where God sent him, it was working well. It served him well. God told him to go to this place, and it was a place that was serving him and serving him well. Um, but he had to recognize and know when that place was no longer for him. Although God sent him there, and it was a good place for him, but it wasn't for him to be there permanent. So my point is you may even be in a place where you were once meant to be, and it was a good place. You weren't out of order, but now it's time for you to pivot, to make a change. It may be your job. It may be your job. God blessed you with a job. It was a good job, but it's time for you to move. And sometimes we may say, well, um, the job pays a lot of money. And I'm talking about a job because a lot of people we have to work. And sometimes we get caught up on the job pays a lot of money and I just need to be here because I know how things work around here. I know the handbook in and out, and I know how to navigate with the people here. But even though the job may pay a lot of money, they may have good benefits, but the Lord may be telling you, launch out into the deep, start your own thing. It's time to start your own business, or it's time to start looking for another job and go somewhere else. And you may say, well, I just got a raise. My supervisor is nice to me. My coworkers are nice to me. We get along well. There's no workplace animosity, even if it's not with everybody, but the overall environment is a good environment. But God knows the end from the beginning, and He knows the in between. I like to say He knows all things. There may be a mass layoff coming down the road, and everything looks good with the company. Employees are unaware, but God knows everything. He knows that they're going to lay off. And layoffs have probably been planned for months and months and months, because just because they lay off today don't mean that they thought of it today or even last week. They knew months ahead of time. You know, the most cruel thing I saw, which seemed to have been a pattern over the holidays with a lot of these companies, is they were laying off people right before Thanksgiving, right before Christmas, like a week, 2 or 3 days, or what have you. Those companies knew months ahead of time that they were going to have mass layoff because profits and loss and what have you. They already knew that. It was of no surprise. They didn't wake up today, one day, and say, oh, we're not making any money and we have to lay off tomorrow. No, there was planning into that. So God knows all things. And sometimes we have to take a leap, even though we don't understand everything, and we have to shift. And then there's times when we know full well that things aren't going good. We know that the place where we're at is no longer serving us, but we're afraid to make a move, to shift to something different because we're familiar with where we're at. And I'll liken it to moving. Because yes, I'm still talking about the move to North Dakota Summit, and I know everyone isn't going to move to North Dakota, and I know North Dakota is not for everyone. But I want those of you that, even if you absolutely do not want to move to North Dakota, it's not the place for you, and God has not set for you to move to North Dakota. If you are in a place where the cost of living is extremely high, your wages are not enough to meet the cost of living, or even if you aren't a low wage worker, you may be a high wage earner, but the cost of living is still very high, and you're not able to save, you're not able to get ahead, you're not able to do some of the pleasures in life, as simple as going out to eat, or even taking a short 2 or 3 day vacation without having to go in debt and put those things on your credit card. And it's all because, not because you're not spending your money wisely or you're wasting. It's because you simply don't have enough money to match the cost of living of where you are. um then it's time for you to move. It's time for you to move to somewhere that is more affordable. Excuse me. It's time for you to move to somewhere that is more affordable for you, and if you have a family, for your family. For instance, like some people live in New York. New York is super expensive. And some people can only afford to rent. I saw this news report about them gentrifying Brooklyn. They've been gentrifying Brooklyn for I don't know how long. There's positives in gentrifying a place, and there's negatives in gentrifying a place. But they're gentrifying Brooklyn. And there was this woman on there, and she was complaining about the changes that were being made. And of course, 99% of the time with gentrification comes higher rent, higher cost of living, because they are making improvements to the community. So she was complaining, saying that, oh, they're pushing out the people that have been here. We've been here our whole life. Now, this lady looks like she maybe was like 35, in her 30s. And she's saying that she can't afford to live there anymore. And I'm like, well, why don't you just move? Why don't you move? And I think that a reporter even asked her, why didn't she just move? And she's like, well, I've been here my whole life. Well, you've been here your whole life, but this place no longer serves you. You cannot afford to live here. And you rather complain. And complaining, I know this may sound rude, and some people may not like it, but it's the cold hard facts. Complaining is not going to get you anywhere. Complaining is not going to do anything. You go down there to the city council and whatever and complain, and them they are still going to pass the permits, the ordinance, or whatever they do, and let the people do what they do. Complaining isn't going to do anything. So you have to know when to move. And then you've been in a place your whole life, you can't afford the rent, let alone afford to buy. I mean, we have to stop getting trapped in this lie of renting. Excuse me, of renting. And I was a renter. I was a renter, and there's nothing wrong with renting, but I did not want to be renting forever, because when you're renting, you're not getting any equity in it. You're not getting any equity. The property value goes up every year, and you're not gaining anything. You're having to pay more rent because your landlord is raising the rent. You can't pass down your apartment ownership to your children. I mean, they can take over the lease if and when you die, but they don't own a thing. They don't own it. They don't own it. So we have to recognize when it is time for us to pivot, when it is time for us to move. We cannot stay in a place that no longer serves us and become stagnant, become angry, and become bitter when that thing no longer serves us. We have to realize it is time to change. It's time to change. For me, I have been on Facebook for I don't know how many years. I've talked a lot about financial education. I've gained some, excuse me, clients from Facebook. Um, Women have joined my home care bosses boot camp course, um, done some things, but I noticed that the algorithm has changed on Facebook tremendously. Half of the people that I am friends with on Facebook, I never see their posts till like days or sometimes a week later. It was so weird because a year or so ago, I left a comment on someone's post on Facebook. And just 2 or 3 weeks ago, I saw the reply that they left. That was a long time ago. I mean, year or two ago, however long ago, more than 6 months ago. And I was like, why am I just not being notified that this person responded to my comment? And they hadn't just responded, they responded way back when I left the comment. So I had to realize that, hey, What I'm doing on Facebook, it's not gaining any traction. It's not gaining any traction anymore. So what do? Hop over to YouTube. No, I don't know anybody over here on YouTube. I had 9 subscribers maybe 3 weeks ago. Hasn't been a month. 9 subscribers 3 weeks ago. I started posting videos, started sharing my story. Now I have 3,800 subscribers, and my videos have gained over 200,000 views. And many of you who have connected with me through watching my videos and watching my lives are coming to the new Move to North Dakota Summit. Excuse me. I am so sorry. Many of you have gotten your tickets to the Move to North Dakota Summit, and a lot of you have even found me on Facebook, direct message me, and some of you have even sent me emails. So I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful. I'm grateful because getting on here and sharing my story has helped me help other people, which is all I've ever wanted, was to help other people improve their lives. Now, if I had continued to just say, I'm going to stay on Facebook, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, knowing I'm not getting any traction, knowing it's not reaching anyone, what am I doing? Getting frustrated? Like, okay, what's happening? Becoming stagnant? And probably one day would have said, forget the whole thing, I'm not going to do it. But I had to recognize, okay, this place that once served me is no longer serving me. So I have to transition to, to something else. I have to make a pivot. And when I first got on YouTube telling my story about living here in North Dakota, I had no intention of starting a Move to North Dakota Summit. It came about because so many people started asking me questions about North Dakota. People started messaging me, wanting information or what have you. And I said, wait a minute. I know a lot of people that have come here and have been successful and are living a good life. Let me ask them, will they come on a panel and tell about their life? And they're Black people. And now this channel is for everyone. It is to encourage everyone. But as you can see, I'm a Black woman. And there is no denying that as Black people here in America, we are behind the 8 ball for various reasons. Systematic racism, different things. Some of our own doing, some thanks to the government or what have you. However, so we're behind the 8 ball. And I want to help my people to improve their lives and get further. Now, if you are not Black, and I don't say African American because I was born here. I didn't just come to America and become a citizen. I wasn't born in Africa. And I don't say African American because every Black person is not of African descent born in America. My husband, he's from Trinidad and Tobago. He's not African American according to what, they say African American because he was not born here. So I say Black. So if you have a problem with that, please, you know, just move past it. But a lot of people were like, are there any Black people in North Dakota? I didn't know there were many Black people. Now, when I first came here, there were not a lot of Black people. We have more Black people now here. More Black people here now. And there were Black people here, but they were on the base. And I guess they did not venture off of the base when I first came here. But now you see more and more Black people here. We're still a low demographic here, but you see us more. You see us more. And there aren't any racial tensions, there aren't any problems. Now, I'm aware that in certain parts of the country, there is a history of how certain white people have treated us. I'm aware of these things, but I have not had a bad experience here in North Dakota, the majority white state. My children haven't had any problems in school, um, where they are a minority, and 95, 94 or higher percent of the children are white. They haven't had any problems. So I said, let me share my experience. Let me have other Black people who have come here and done extremely well tell their story of how they have come here and they have done very well. And it is okay for Black people to come here. Now, North Dakota is welcoming, in my eyes, to everyone. But I want to specifically say to Black people, come to North Dakota and you're going to be all right. You're going to be fine. The KKK isn't going to be at your doorstep, burning the cross on the lawn, out to get you. You know, some of the things that we think like, oh, it's a majority white people, white people. You know, every white person is not out to get us. And I like to think that the majority of people are really good people. Yes, we have some ignorant people out there. They're just ignorant and what have you. Um, oh, don't be nervous, Judith. I will be praying for you. The high schools in North Dakota are very great. In fact, where I live at in Minot, they just built, listen to this, they just built and opened this school year in August a $200 million high school. That high school cost $200 million to build. It has, and I believe they said an Olympic-sized swimming pool, which the high school here before had a swimming pool because my kids did the swim lessons there. But and it's nice for it to be a school that was built way back in the 70s or what have you. But now they have a $200 million high school here. So you know there's money here. There's money here if they can afford to build a $200 million high school. But North Dakota it is a great place to raise your kids in safety. Now, I'm not saying that we don't have any crime here, because that would be a lie. Crime is everywhere. But what I am saying is when you watch the news, you're not going to hear a story every night of somebody got robbed, somebody got kidnapped, somebody got offed, all that kind of stuff. You are not going to hear that. Sometimes you're going to hear about, oh, Sally Joe, blah, blah, blah. She has cancer. The church is having a pancake benefit to raise money to help go towards her medical bills. You'll hear things like that. Now, you will have some things that you're like, okay, what's going on here in Maryberry? But it's not like in the big city. Oh, good morning from Greenville, South Carolina. Good morning, good morning. So, hey, Eleanor, if you are struggling, maybe you aren't even struggling. Maybe you're tired of the hustle and bustle. Maybe you're tired of hearing about what is happening in some of the schools and you're nervous for your children, or you may be even downright afraid for your children. It's okay to admit that. North Dakota is a place that you can come, you can raise your children in safety and peace. Now, the schools do still have precautions in case someone wants to act a fool. You have to get buzzed in. They have cameras. They have all of that stuff. So it's not like they're just acting like nothing ever happens in the world. They do have precautions. But, and even though we're safe here, I still pray for my children. I pray for their protection. I plead the blood of Jesus over my children and the other children, the administrators, the school, or what have you. I don't act like, okay, nothing's going to ever happen here. But it is a safe place. It is a safe place. But we have to know when to pivot. We have to know when to pivot and when a place is no longer serving us. And we cannot be afraid to say, I'm going to make a change. And even if you are afraid, because sometimes you're going to be afraid, do it scared anyway. I tell you, if you know God, and I mean, I know a lot of people say, I know God. And what happened? I'm talking about, you know God. You have accepted God as your Lord and Savior, Jesus as your Lord and Savior. And if you haven't, you can still tune in. Okay, do what you want to do. But if you have accepted Jesus as your Lord and Savior, if you are in relationship with God, God gonna be with you wherever you go. Wherever you go, He is gonna be with you. He said He will be with you wherever you go, even until the end of time. He is gonna be with you. Start applying for, start looking for a job now. Start looking for a job now and see what's out there. And sometimes you may not need a lot of money to move. I don't know if you're moving here to North Dakota or where you're moving, but you may not need a lot of money to move. I know when I got my last apartment, like some places you need first, last, and security deposit. The apartments I had, which I've only lived in, the apartments I've had, they did not require that. Okay, here in North Dakota, they did not require that. No apartment complex that I know of, no body that I know of that has ever rented an apartment here has said that they have to show that they make 3 times the rent in order to get an apartment. They don't have those rules here. It's like, okay, how much do you make on your job? And then I'm trying to think, did they ever ask how much you make? I'm trying to remember because I don't want to give false information. I don't want to lie on accident. I can't remember. But you're not going to need first, last security and all that stuff. Now, some apartments here, you may need that because they have built some so-called luxury apartments here where the apartment building has a pool and has all this extra jazzed up stuff. And you're going to pay more for that apartment. But you can still find an apartment here for $600, $700, $800. And some of them may be even 2-bedroom apartments. My last apartment was $895. When I moved in, I think it was $825. On the end, it was $895. 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, washer and dryer. Well, the washer and dryer was coin operated, but 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, washer and dryer, 2-car garage. The garage was detached, and it was a secure building with cameras. $895. $895. And it was managed by the housing authority. Now, apartment buildings here, even though it may not be in a Section 8 or the landlord may not be Section 8 or what have you, they will hire the housing authority to manage the property. You work part-time as a sitter and you get disability income. Send me an email. Let me ask you, before you send me an email, wait a minute, let me back up because I can't tell everybody to send me an email. I do have other things, not to be rude, but have you signed up for the Move to North Dakota Summit? Let me know, have you signed up for the Move to North Dakota Summit? And if you haven't signed up for the Move to North Dakota Summit, go ahead and sign up for the Move to North Dakota Summit. And I would encourage you, this is the person, I'm talking to the person who wrote the comment about sitting and getting disability income. I didn't catch the name on there. Hey, good morning. Food service jobs here are good. But back to the person who made that comment, then I'll answer the question about the food service job. Sign up for the Move to North Dakota Summit. And if you haven't already gotten your ticket for the VIP, you want to get VIP. And I'm not just saying that because the VIP costs. VIP is going to come with a Move to North Dakota toolkit. It's going to have so much jam packed information in that toolkit. It's going to have resources on the different cities. So, like for instance, I live in Minot. It's going to have details about Minot, apartment buildings, schools, medical centers, things of that nature, jobs in the area. Um, it's going to have so much information in the VIP toolkit. It's going to come with winter survival information. Don't let that scare you off. It's stuff, even if you live in Chicago, New York, or what have you, and you're traveling and it's snowing and cold, you probably should do these things anyway. It's going to come with a customizable good morning. It's going to come with a customizable move plan, or how you can plan your move, customizable budget for you to move. It's going to come with a lot of information. And you get access to a private Facebook group for the Move to North Dakota Summit. So if you are moving here, serious about moving here, you can connect with other people who are moving here and see who is moving to the city that you're going to. And that way you can make some connections even before you get here to North Dakota. I think that is very good, especially if you are a single person or a single parent. You want to make connections with like minded people and form a community before you even get to somewhere where you may be coming alone. Um, so get your ticket to the Move to North Dakota Summit. Get the VIP ticket. You can still get 20. I gotta check and see if you can still get 20% off, because I had it at 20% off. If it's not still at 20% off, I'll go in and make it so that you can still get 20% off the ticket. Now the ticket is only $37. So if you get 20% off of that, in my opinion, for what you're getting, it's very affordable. We have 8 panelists going to give you a bunch of information, and you're getting the Move to North Dakota Summit. The other thing I thought about doing yesterday, and this just came to mind yesterday because someone reached out to me about meeting or what have you. So if you upgrade your ticket to the VIP, we'll have a live meet and greet. Well, it would be me, not the other people on the panel, because they probably do not have time to do that, because one of them is a doctor, the other is a hospital administrator, uh, realtor, and so on. I don't want to take up a lot of the time, but we'll do a live meet and greet, and I will be on live, and you can ask me questions directly, and we connect. We can connect. So that's something else that will come with the when you upgrade your ticket to the VIP experience. Now, in reference to food service jobs, yes, there are food service jobs here. The hospital has a cafeteria, um, and also outside of the hospital, there are lots of restaurants here. I know here in Minot, there's a restaurant seems like to be opening on a regular. Good morning, Tiffany. Good morning. Um, and if you work in the food service industry, I don't know where you currently live, but I guarantee you, you're not gonna make minimum wage. You're gonna make more than minimum wage. I don't know if anyone here in North Dakota pays minimum wage. It may be in some small town where there's only like 30, 40, 100 people. I'm not sure. But if you're paying minimum wage here, you're going to be starting a business today, out of business tomorrow, because it just can't happen here. You're going to make you're going to make money here. When I first came here, McDonald's was paying $15 an hour. Now this is before COVID. Before COVID, where McDonald's was paying minimum wage in all other places. But McDonald's was paying $15 an hour and offering a signing bonus. Um, they recently opened a McDonald's on the side of town where I used to live. It's probably 3 months old now. They were offering a signing bonus for people to come work there. So, did you have a lot of money when you arrived? Did you have transportation at first? Okay, when I moved to North Dakota, I didn't have any money. I I was broke. I mean, I was broke. Okay. How I got here is the hospital system. They paid for me to get here. They had a contract with U-Haul, and I was able to. And you're gonna make more than that now. I don't think you. I don't. I think they're paying more than that. Um, I had the medical facility, the hospital system. Excuse me. They had a contract with U-Haul. So I was able to rent the truck through U-Haul without paying any money. Otherwise, I don't know how I was going to do it. And then they reimbursed my moving expenses, the cost of gas, cost of tolls, cost of staying in a hotel on the way up, and the cost of food. And I got a $2,000 signing bonus. So I did not have a lot of money. And actually, if it wasn't for my husband, who was then my boyfriend, I don't know what I would have did because I didn't have any money. I mean, I didn't have any money. No, I did not have a car when I came here. Well, let me back that up. We came with a car, but the car literally broke down 2 days after we got here. No exaggeration. But where I live at, there is a bus system. When I first came here, the bus stopped running at 4, I think it was 4:30 was the last bus. Now the bus now the bus runs later than that. I think it runs to like 7 maybe. I'm not 100% sure, but it runs later than 4:30. Um the bus system to me is really good. When I worked at the nursing home, the bus stop was right outside of one of the doors. So I knew when the bus was coming. The bus was always on time. So I would just shoot outside right before the bus was coming. So I wasn't outside waiting in the cold a long time. The apartment that I had, the bus stop was right on the corner from my apartment. I knew the bus was coming and I would just go right out. And on the days that it was really cold, I would call. We have a bus system here that kind of operates like a cab. I think it's a really good bus system. Um, it kind of runs like a cab because you call the bus and they come to your door to pick you up. I think the fee, I don't know how much the fee, I think it was like $1 something back then. $2. I can't remember. But it's not that it's not that expensive even now. But you call the bus and you schedule for them to pick you up. They'll come to pick you up. Now you got to be ready when they come and they honk the horn to let you know that they're there. If you don't come right out that door, depending on the person who's driving, but 9 times out of 10, if you don't come out, they're going to pull off and leave you. So you have to be ready. And the good thing about that bus is that, so if you come here in Minot, you don't have a car, and on the days that it's too cold to catch the city bus, you can schedule that bus and you can schedule it ahead of time. Like I worked 6 to 3. That was my schedule. So I would call in the morning the week before to let them know, hey, I need to schedule the bus to pick me up during this time. And then I get off during this time. And you schedule it for the week. So it's not a taxi service, but it kind of runs like a taxi. And if you need to go over to Bismarck, which is an hour and a half, 2 hours away, depending on where you're going in Bismarck, it even goes over there, I think, once a week. It goes to Bismarck once a week. So you can even schedule for it to take you over to Bismarck. So I think that's really good. I'm not sure if they have that in any other city. I did look to see if they have that in Grand Forks and somewhere else, but I did not find it. I'm still doing some research. In Grand Forks, Fargo, and those other cities are bigger than Minot. So I hope that answers your question about transportation. So if you haven't gotten your tickets to the Move to North Dakota Summit, I'm telling you, you want to get your tickets. It is going to be a live panel. Only one person who has a previous obligation will have a recording, but it's going to be a live panel. There will be a doctor there. There Yes, you can go to the mall. Their hospital administrator, retiree, a retired community activist. He was the CEO of the Homeless Coalition, but he retired last year. Um, a travel agent. He's not going to be talking about travel. He's going to be talking about his experience living here as a black man and raising his son. I'm also going to have a salon owner on. She's from California. She's actually the person who does my hair. She's from California. Her husband and her moved here, and she's going to be talking about starting her business here. I'll get her to share how she transferred her license for her cosmetology license, and she's going to be talking about raising her daughter here. And I think her daughter is like 12 years old. So those people will be on, and we'll have a live Q&A, so you'll have a chance to ask them questions after we finish the discussion with them. After each person finishes their discussion, you'll have a chance to ask questions. Now, again, general ticket is good, but if you're very serious about moving to North Dakota, you want to upgrade and get the VIP ticket. And I'm going to go in and check to extend the 20% off. I mean, for all that you're getting, and you're going to get the VIP toolkit, $37, and then 20% off, to me is not bad. I wish when I was searching and going to move here that someone had this information, and it could have helped me prepare tremendously about living here in North Dakota. Anyway, you guys, I gotta go. Gotta get my kids up and ready for school. I will see you back tomorrow, same place, same time. Until next time, have a blessed day and a prosperous future. And I'm gonna be back on tonight, so put on your notifications so you'll know when I'll be live. Have a good one.